It's been 3 days, and I'm still not over the Civil War trailer. What is up, you guys? And it's Miranda. Welcome back to the weekly Fangirl. It has been 2 weeks since we did our edition of Fangirl Reads for the first chapter of Life and Death, Chapter 2. The next day was better and worse. We go into a lot of the reasons why it was better and some of the reasons why it was worse. He got picked on in class. He nearly knocked somebody out with a volleyball in gym. The main reason why it was worse was that Edith Cullen wasn't back at school. He's kind of bummed out because he wanted to confront her about what happened on Monday and, demand what her problem was. But, he talks about, I knew myself too well to think that I would really have the guts to do it. Maybe if she hadn't been so abnormally beautiful. God, this kid. All through lunch, he's, staring around looking for her and can't find her anywhere and waiting for her to arrive, and he's just, paranoid, looking around like, is she here yet? Is she here yet? Is she here yet? Oh my god. It doesn't show up. The funny thing about this, though, is that Michaela, who's, as we remember, was the gender-bent version of Mike from the original, is just as territorial around Beau as Mike was around Bella in the original, which is kind of hilarious. Girls hadn't noticed me much at home. I wondered if I wanted her to like me. Her attention made me feel a little uncomfortable, as if everything doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, you whiner. But the thing of it is, though, is that he's so preoccupied with this whole Edith Cullen thing, he doesn't even really have time to worry too much about Michaela. He's more focused on the fact that Edith is gone and she's been gone all day, and he can't help but think that maybe she's gone because of him. It was ridiculous, egotistical, again, to think that I could affect anyone that much. It was impossible, but I couldn't stop worrying about it. I worry about everything. So we go around school for a little while, and then there's this whole page of him going shopping for groceries and blah blah blah. Eventually he gets home and checks his email, and of course we get another peek into the wonderful relationship he has with his mom. Oh. Write me as soon as you get in. Tell me how your flight was. Is it raining? I miss you already. I'm almost finished packing for Florida, but I can't find my pink blouse. Do you know where I've put it? Phil says hi, Mom. I sighed and went to the next. It was sent 6 hours after the first. We've got our first red flag. First red flag in the second chapter. Oh, why haven't you emailed me yet? What are you waiting for? Mom. The last was from this morning. Buford Swan, if I haven't heard from you by 5:30 p.m. today, I'm calling Charlie. We're diving straight in with the creep factor. I still don't like the relationship. It's not getting any better for me between these two. I still had an hour, but Mom was known for jumping the gun. Clearly. Mom, calm down. I'm writing now. Don't do anything crazy, Beau. Because he's got to placate her, or else, she's gonna fly off the handle. I sent that, then started the next, beginning with a lie. Everything is great. Terrible liar. Of course it's raining. I was waiting for something to write about. School isn't bad, just a little repetitive. I met some okay kids who sit by me at lunch. Your shirt is at the dry cleaners. You were supposed to pick it up on Friday. Charlie bought me a truck, can you believe it? It's awesome. This kid really is terrible at lying. It's old but really sturdy, which is good. For me. I miss you too. I'll write again soon, but I'm not going to check my email every 5 minutes. Relax. Breathe. I love you. Beau. And of course, Charlie comes home, and we get a little bit of their interaction. He starts talking about, some of the kids that he goes to school with, and one of them is, he starts talking about the Cullen family a little bit. He makes this comment about how they don't really fit in too well at the school, and Charlie gets into this really impassioned speech, like defending them out of nowhere. Like, he's just like, oh, the people in this town just don't know how to accept anybody who's different. God. They go back to, eating dinner together in silence, whatever. The rest of the week was uneventful. Nothing else really happens. He gets into the routine at school and, just gets into the swing of things. But the biggest thing that happens is that Edith Cullen didn't come back to school for the rest of the week. And of course, every day he's sitting there in the cafeteria looking around, just waiting for her beauty to come in and knock him off his feet. Yeah, so by the end of the week, he's actually settling in and feeling at home at Forks, which is really odd for him. All in all, I was feeling a lot more comfortable than I thought I would feel by this point. more comfortable than I had ever expected to feel here. Because, of course, he looks around this place that he hates and just thinks, I'm never gonna like it. I'm never gonna have a good time here. I'm never gonna make friends. I'm never gonna have any fun. It's just gonna be miserable all the time because I hate everything. Friday dawns and he's going back to school, and as he's walking out of class with Michaela because they're going to their next class, the air was filled with swirling bits of white. Wow, Michaela said. It's snowing. Ugh, snow. There went my good day. Don't you like the snow? That means it's too cold for rain, obviously. Besides, I thought it was supposed to come down in flakes, you know, each one unique and all that. These just look like the ends of Q-tips. Of course, Michaela's laughing at him because why wouldn't you? Because he's just such an ass. Who doesn't get excited about the first snow? Come on. Especially if you've been living in a state where you've never seen it before. Anybody else would come to this place and be so excited about the change in the weather. But this kid just, oh. Yeah, he gets really paranoid because of course everybody else in this town is excited and trying to, have snowball fights. He's using his binder as a shield so he doesn't get hit with anything because frozen water is just terrifying to him. Of course, they go to lunch as per usual. They look around and he glanced toward the table where the Cullens usually sit, as was his habit. Oh my god, Edith is back at lunch. Oh my god. Oh, here we go. Michaela and Jeremy think that he's like sick or something because he's just standing there staring at the table, freaking out. It's going over in his head whether or not he should actually play up the whole sick thing and maybe hide in the nurse's office for the whole hour of his biology class. Why was I being such a coward? Was it so bad to be glared at? It wasn't like she was actually going to stab a knife in me. Weird phrasing, by the way. Stephanie's grammar hasn't improved a bit. Oh, but no, everything seems to be okay. They're laughing and, carrying on over at the Cullens table. They're actually emoting, which is interesting. So they sit down at lunch, and Jeremy, who is, Jessica from the original, points out, Edith Cullen is staring at you. She doesn't look angry, does she? No. What did you do? Ask her out? Jeremy's such a dick. Never even talked to her. I don't think she likes me very much. Well, no, nobody, I don't know how these people do. You're an asshole. She's still staring at you. Stop looking at her. He snickered, but finally looked away. Then, of course, after lunch, he goes to biology. The table's empty when he gets there, so he has a chance to prepare and get in that mindset where he's not freaking out. I heard very clearly when the chair next to me moved, but I kept my eyes focused on the pattern I was drawing. Hello, my name is Edith Cullen. I didn't have a chance to introduce myself last week. You must be Beau Swan. How do you know my name? I stammered. He's just like totally thrown off because she actually called him Beau instead of calling him Beaufort. I think everyone knows your name. The whole town's been waiting for you to arrive. He thinks that Charlie talks about him behind his back and calls him by his full name, and so that's why he's out of his element now, because she actually called him by his nickname and nobody else in town has done that. She's so different. So they're working on a lab project. Nothing really interesting there. Then we get into some more snow hate, and we talk about Beau's backstory a little bit. Too bad about the snow, isn't it? I know, by the way, I know that she's supposed to be American, and this just like, Pattinson was supposed to be American in the original Twilight, but I'm gonna do the British accent. If only to differentiate between the vampires and the non-vampires, the humans. Duh. Bad about the snow, isn't it? Edith asked. I had an odd feeling that she was forcing herself to make small talk with me. Not really, I answered honestly, instead of pretending to be normal like everyone else. What? Wait, you've been trying to be normal this whole time? Okay, so they go back and forth. They're talking about how he hates the cold and the wet, and she's saying, oh, then why did you come to Forks? Which, if you know anything about Twilight, you already know. We covered it. I covered it in the last video. His mom got remarried, and he wanted to exile himself to Forks so that she could go around with her baseball-playing husband, Phil. Really should have been her softball-playing wife, Philippa, but I'll let it go for now. She stayed with me at first, but she missed him. It made her unhappy. But now you're unhappy. And? I challenged. That doesn't seem fair. I laughed once. Haven't you heard? Life isn't fair. You subject yourself to this exile, to a place you hate, willingly, so that other people will benefit from it. I appreciate the irony of the situation here, you guys, but bear with me. So he's a pessimist and a masochist. I don't get this kid. I don't, and also, how is he just a teenager? Most people in their 20s aren't this, like, self-aware of the world, you know? I mean, at least most teenagers are hopeful, right? Not all of them are this emo and borderline OCD. I know I've said it before, but I don't like this kid. And Edith sees right through him, too. I love it. You put on a good show, but I'd be willing to bet that you're suffering more than you let anyone see. I repeat, and? I don't entirely understand you, that's all. Why would you want to? I swear to God, that isn't even my commentary. He actually asks that. I frowned. Why would you want to? That's a very good question, she murmured, so quietly I wondered if she was talking to herself. And it's funny, I mean, he's questioning why anybody would be interested in him, and now she's questioning it too, and I'm just sitting here like, yep, I'm with you both. I don't know why anybody would be interested in this kid, because he's so annoying. He did it all to himself! It was too intense making small talk with Edith. I felt dizzy in a strange way, because of course, this beautiful girl makes him so uncomfortable on top of everything else. Class is over, not long after that. They get their project done before anybody else, so then that's why they were sitting there talking to each other. So at the end of it all, he meets up with Michaela again, and she noticed that Edith was actually being a good lab partner today, and she doesn't seem to like that. She was friendly enough today, Michaela commented as we shrugged into our raincoats. I tried to keep my voice casual. I wonder what was with her last Monday. Playing dumb, as always, Bo. Well, I don't know if he's playing at this point. He's, ugh. And then, okay, so they're leaving school, and he sees Edith Cullen in the parking lot, and he gets so distracted by her that, just like Bella in the original version, he nearly crashes his big, rusty boat of a truck into a Toyota. He's blindsided by her, immaculate face. Okay, so getting into the meat of this chapter, the things that stand out to me are that, yes, this is a carbon copy of the original version because there are lines in here that are word for word what was in the original. And I wonder, by the way, why Stephanie didn't think that maybe she could change it up a little bit so it's not exactly, beat for beat. I don't know. I don't know why she would just copy and paste everything and then switch out the names. I still don't know why she wrote this book. Why she wrote the original, never mind the updated version. She could have just let this die, and then I would have been able to let it die instead of making this stupid series. Why did I think this was a good idea? I'm still questioning it. I don't know, maybe by the time I get to the middle of the story, I might start to like it. That's what I'm worried, actually, that I might start to like this story if we go any further into it, but as far as I'm into it right now, I don't like it. It's annoying, it's boring, and when it's not boring, I just want to punch this kid. I've never hit a kid, but I'm about 2 seconds away from pulling Bo out of the book just to knock him in the face. How can you be this fed up with life? It blows my mind. I don't know. And I still don't like the relationship with him and his mom. I still think that she's fragile and infantilized in the worst way. And I still think that Edith Cullen is really not all she's cracked up to be. She's just a vampire who really wants to eat this kid. It did point out in this chapter that her eyes changed color, and apparently there's a correlation there between, her change in personality and the change in demeanor with her and her family. But we won't get into that just yet because it's not a part of the book yet, but for those of us that know, it's because she was gone all week because she was feeding, so that's spoiler alert. So that is about it for Chapter 2. Chapter 3 will be coming soon. I make no promises that it'll be next week, only because I'm trying to put off reading this as much as I possibly can, just because I don't want to read it. And I made a commitment, and I'm sticking to it. I will read this book all the way through to the last chapter, and then I will give it away to some poor soul so they can read it. It'll be like terribly written Jumanji. Just give it on to the next person, and then let them suffer through it. I can process the terrible writing, move past it, move on. So until next time, I have been Miranda. This has been the Weekly Fangirl. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up down below, leave me a comment and tell me what you thought, and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I make new ones every Sunday. Until then, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.